Is that cranberry sauce? Nope, that is not cranberry sauce. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope you're having a good holiday season, even though it's the COVID year, the year of COVID. It's kind of hard to get together anymore. Everyone's trying to stay away from each other, but I hope you're all having a good time. Still eating turkey and hopefully not killing people like this crazy bastard in this movie, Terry. This movie we're talking about is Blood Rage. This is a Thanksgiving slasher, although the story doesn't really need to take place on Thanksgiving, but it does, so that's why I'm talking about it today. Last year I did Thanksgiving 1 and 3, so if you want to check out those reviews, go right ahead. But I wouldn't recommend watching those movies. So, but this one I can recommend. This is far superior. Things that I really love about this movie is that open. I love the 1974 drive-in setting. You get like Ted Raimi selling condoms. You get this brutal opening kill done by a child that you don't really get a lot in slasher movies. A killer kid with doing this kind of horrible act, and just it's a bloody cool open. So really love the opening. And I love that this is a Thanksgiving slasher because we don't have a whole lot. We got every single holiday and special event that you can think of, Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day, even graduation day, birthdays. Finally, we got a Thanksgiving slasher. Does it really need to take place on that day? No, but it does, so that's cool. We need more like this, more Thanksgiving slashers out there. And the mom in this movie is really the only good performance in the movie. Sometimes she's a little over the top, but she is given the best performance in this movie. So I'll give her credit for actually trying. Nobody else really did. And I love all the 80s kills and gore, and I say 80s because the effects are very, cheap in 80s. This was not a big budget film, but the budget clearly went only towards the kills. I'm not sure where else it could have went, because the lighting, everything else was pretty bad, but the kills, pretty good. Love the gory, cheesy effects in here. People getting chopped in half, heads split open, just limbs everywhere, people getting their throats slashed. Lots of blood, lots of carnage, and you need that in an 80s slasher. So this one checks that box for sure. I also really liked the score in the movie. It's got like a beat to it. You don't usually get that. You usually just get like synthesizer sounds and stuff like that, or it's an orchestra, a choir, I don't know. But this one, it's got like a beat. It's very different sounding. I like the way it's used in the movie. It's very 80s. It's very cheesy, low budget sounding, but I like it. Fits the film perfectly. And of course, I love all the silly moments in the movie, all the silly gags, all the dumb character decisions, all the bad props in the movie that look fake as hell, the wigs, just some of the dialogue that's very, very bad. And Terry, the main killer, who's not wearing a mask, he talks, he has a psychotic personality. I love that. I love that this isn't going the cliche masked killer route. So that's different. This makes it stand out. Killer twins, or a killer twin movie. It's got some nudity, not a whole lot, but it's got nudity, so it checks that box too. And I love the bizarre, dark ending. Like, this ending's a little dark. I won't spoil it here, but I love how this movie ends. It just is not what you would expect in this type of movie. So love that. Now, the negatives is the transfer for this movie is not that great. There's a lot of grainy spots. It's not crystal clear. So that was a shame. But I guess this is what they had to work with. They did their best. I'm sure Arrow did their best, but there's some moments where it's not good. It's very overlit. Like, they didn't even try to make any good atmosphere in the movie. No good visuals. This is a very basic shot slasher. There's no talent, not a whole lot of talent. I'll say. Not, I don't want to sound mean, but there's not a lot of talent behind this movie. Like, from a filmmaking standpoint, and the actors are not that good. When they're out in the forest, it's just so bright that you can see every tree for a mile. It's insane. And the writing is not good. The dialogue, pretty bad, but I'm also very unclear on Todd's motivation, what he's trying to do. It's just very unclear once he escapes what he's trying to do. He gets to the apartment complex, which is the first place that the cops would try to go to find him. and all they do is send like one doctor there and her assistant. It's like they would send a lot more people there if he's so dangerous. And I don't understand what the hell Todd's trying to do. Like, he gets a gun, he doesn't use it. Like, what's he trying to do? He doesn't even try to get in contact with his mom right away. He's just slinking around, being a creep. And then when he bumps into it with this one chick, instead of like trying to convince her that he's innocent, he just again acts creepy. So that was just all weird to me. It didn't make sense, like, from why he was acting that way, what he was doing. And another thing that was confusing is the writing of the relationships in this movie. I understand who was with who. It's just all over the place. I couldn't keep up with like who's with who. I understand any relationship in this movie. So all of that was just confusing and just added noise. It was not interesting, the relationships in the movie. Just a lot of filler there. Speaking of filler, there's a lot of cutbacks to like the mom. Every time something cool was happening, a kill would happen, they would cut back to the mom, and they did that way too much. Like, I understood some of them for like plot reasons, to get her to understand like what was going on, to find out about her dead fiance, stuff like that, to get her to go there, and things like I understood a couple of them. But it just kept cutting back to her again and again. Like, now she's drinking, now she's passing out, now she's cleaning, now she's doing this. It's like, I don't care about any of that. Just stop cutting back to her. And even though there's a few really good kills in here, a couple of them are off camera, so that's a shame. Just a few of them that are off camera, but some of them we get some cool aftermath shots. But yeah, there's a couple of off-screen ones. This movie could have used a couple more on-screen kills, but the ones we do get are pretty good. And it could have used a little bit more nudity. So final thoughts, this is a very fun, cheesy 80s slasher with some cool gory kills, a fun psychotic killer. It's not even trying to be a whodunit. It's not a mystery at all. I like that it's a slasher who doesn't wear a mask and talks. It's different, and it takes place on Thanksgiving, so it's a movie that you can watch once a year around Thanksgiving, and it just has cheesy bad dialogue and dumb character decisions that you laugh at, silly moments that make you laugh, and it's overall a good time. It goes at a good pace. I was never bored. So when it comes to Blood Rage, I recommend for you slasher fans out there that you go out and buy it. So this movie opens up in 1974, and we see these twin brothers sneaking out of the back of the car while the mom's making out with this other guy. And every time it cuts back to the kids, you can clearly tell that they're not even on location at all. They're like in a dark black garage. You can just tell, like, they're never in the same frame with their parents, And so the one kid, just without any motivation, really goes and kills this guy. I think it has something to do with the mom being with a new guy. It seems like every time the mom's with a new guy, that seems to set off the kid, Terry. Because then when it's present day, she announces that she's engaged, and you can kind of see on Terry's face that he's triggered by that, and that's when everything starts happening. So I think every time she falls in love, that's his like motivation to kill. Like, you ain't gonna be with no one else. But he frames his brother, he kills this guy, gives him a hatchet to the face like 5 times. Awesome kill. You got Ted Raimi selling condoms in the bathroom for like $1 a piece, and you get the title card that says Slasher, which is not the title of the movie, on the cover at least. And the girlfriend of the guy who got killed just runs butt naked across the grass in front of the drive-in movie screen. And if she just would have stuck around for a few seconds, she could have fingered Terry. Not sexually, but she could have fingered Terry and been like, it was him. But instead, she left, never came back to point at the guy who actually did it. Terry wouldn't have been able to give Todd the hatchet and smear blood on his face and get away with it. Because, it was just convenient that nobody else saw what happened. They walk up when he's already got the hatchet in Todd's hands and blood on his face. Like, it was Todd. So that was convenient for Terry there. But if that chick wouldn't have ran away, she could have easily said, no, it was that guy. Because they're wearing completely different outfits. All right? They should have had him wear the same outfit and then, have her stick around. And then somehow there's a mix-up and she's confused, so she points at the wrong person, something like that. But this movie's not trying to be smart, so it didn't do that. Like, they should have hired twins to play the adult versions, too. That was a mistake. It's not like they were trying to find twin actors who were good, and they couldn't. So, like, fuck it, let's just go for the best actor we can find who's not a twin. No, it's like they could have just got shitty actors who were twins, and it would have worked better in the end, and you wouldn't have had these bad wigs and stunt doubles. It's like, it's obvious stunt doubles, it's obvious wigs, but I guess it adds to the charm of the film. It's so silly. Then there's this odd, like, audio notes recorded playing over the session between the mom and the doctor.
What, are you crazy?
Her position on another issue was also somewhat negative.
No more tests! No more tests! My children are not guinea pigs!
My past work with hysterical patients helped me calm her down.
Then we get this Thanksgiving dinner party, and they get a phone call. They find out that Terry escaped, and we don't really get to see how he escaped, which I guess that's a good thing, because if they tried to show us and explain how he escaped, I'm sure it would have been really silly. So I'm glad they didn't show us. Now we get to just kind of make up our own, theory of how he did it. And I love that she's like, all right, Terry, don't tell anybody that Todd escaped. And what's he do? He walks in the other room, and immediately the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, hey, I guess you do get to meet the rest of the family because my crazy brother just escaped. And the look on the mom's face is like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I just told you. And it just sits there and lingers on her face as she's just like disgusted. Like, I just told you not to tell them, you little shit. And her teeth are disgusting. This transfer did not help her out. Did not help her look good. Her teeth are very yellow, and she's got a big smile, so every time she opens that mouth, it's just like, ugh. And then we get our first present day kill in the movie, where the manager who's engaged to the killer's mom gets his hand chopped off. It's still holding the beard, and his fingers are flexing. And then we see his body later on, and his head has been split open. His body's like propped up. His head falls forward, splits open. His brain's in there in half. Doesn't look good. Looks very bad, but it's still gory as hell. And then the doctor and her assistant show up, and they don't bring cops ever. Like, nobody in this movie ever calls cops, and it's ridiculous. Like, the mom should have called the cops. Like, there's so many moments where you're like, why aren't they calling the cops? Like, they don't think he's dangerous. Like, I understand why the doctor doesn't, because she believes Terry did it. But when the one chick, the final girl, sees Todd, and she's like freaking out about it, why wouldn't she call the cops? And I love that the assistant decides, in the middle of a manhunt, looking for a potentially dangerous person, he's like, I'm going to sit here and start smoking some weed. Another thing that's funny about that scene is that that guy sees Terry holding something behind his back the whole time. And he doesn't question why his hand is behind his back, and he's holding a giant machete. Nobody questions anything. And then we just get all these unnecessary, like, cuts to the mom, stress eating, stress drinking, stress cleaning, and then the doctor or therapist gets cut right in half, and she's just on the ground, like, trying to do a sit-up, but she can't get up because she's chopped in half. And then later on, Todd finds her body and tries to piece her together like a jigsaw puzzle. Like, I'll fix you. I gotta line you up, and now you'll be better. And then we get the iconic line after the chick gets chopped in half when he says, "That's not cranberry sauce."
It's not cranberry sauce.
I love when Karen walks up to Todd thinking it's Terry, and she's just like, you've been kind of distant lately. You haven't sent me any letters. You've been gone at college, and ever since you've been back, you've been kind of weird. But will you make love to me? Like, she just flat out asks him, like, I want you to make love to me. That's what she says. Like, just make love to me right now while your killer brother is on the loose. And then even later on, they're just like, oh, yeah, there's a killer on the loose, and we saw him here. He's potentially dangerous. Let's just start taking tequila shots and playing video games and just live our lives normally like nothing's happening. Todd, though, should have fucked her. Like, Todd, in that moment when she thought that he was Terry and she's like, I want you to make love to me. That was your moment, man. That was the golden opportunity to get laid. But what's he do? He's just hands in pockets, all weird, and putting his shoulders up, acting like a coward. Like, I've never kissed a girl before. I'm not Terry. I'm Todd. It's like, you are an idiot. This girl was gonna bang your brains out, and you ruined your moment, man. So he was an idiot. I love that. So after that, she goes and she fetches one of her guy friends, and is like, oh my gosh, I just saw Todd, the crazy guy who just escaped a mental institution. And the other guy's like, oh, I'll go get him. And he just grabs a baseball bat, heads over, looks for like 5 seconds, and is like, I couldn't find him. I looked as hard as I could. I looked everywhere, man. Couldn't find him. It's like, really? You couldn't find him? you barely looked, and it would be easy to find him in that overly lit forest. Like, everything's overly lit. It's like there's spotlights everywhere. Like, you could spot this guy easily. So then Terry, he's like hanging out with this other chick who's adorable, and I guess he's with her, or she's into him, but then later on she's fucking this other guy. Again, relationships in this movie, confusing. Who the hell, who's with who? But, so she's babysitting, chick gets home, single mom, trying to find a rich husband. She's a gold digger. She gets home, and I like that she's not even upset. Like, usually in movies, the mom and the parents are upset when the babysitter has a boyfriend over who shouldn't be there, but she doesn't give a shit. Like, oh, you brought some random guy over and you're like trying to fuck him on my couch as my newborn baby is in the other room. Like, you're not even trying to. And she's like in there crying. Like, that mom should have been mad that she brought that guy over and it's not even trying to take care of her newborn. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Karen is knocking on the door and the mom is just ignoring it. Like, what the hell is she doing? She's in there stress eating and stress cleaning. Like, it doesn't explain why she never answered the door in that scene. It made no sense to me. Like, she's home. We know that. So why didn't she answer the door when Karen was ringing the doorbell and knocking and screaming? And then why is Todd not trying to get in contact with his mom? Like, he's just slinking around still. Like, people are getting killed and he's not trying to clear his name like at all. He's just being an idiot. And he got a gun from who? Oh yeah, that's right. The doctor. And I love that it's a 4-shooter, and at the end of the movie, somehow it fires 6 shots. That's ridiculous. And that gun looks fake as hell. Look at it again. Tell me it's not fake. Then the dorky date gets killed, and he's the special effects artist behind the scenes. She looks through the door hole, opens the door. There he is. His head's just hanging there, the severed head. Looks very cheesy, but I love that kill. I love that. It's a funny little reveal. And the mom gets killed off camera, but when she's trying to leave, she flat out yells, "Sorry, baby. Like, I'm leaving you here. I'm getting my shit. I'm getting my coat, and I'm going to leave out the back door without you. Bye-bye, baby. You can fend for yourself." It's like, everyone for themselves. It's like, you're terrible. I must say, the relationship between this mom and her son is creepy to me. Like, she kisses her son on the lips for a good, 2 seconds. That's disgusting. I love that this couple stopped having sex just to pull a stupid prank on their friends. They go in there, the chick's pretending that she's dead badly, like her arm is clearly, like her hand's twitching, so no one knows how to play dead in this movie. And then she's got all this makeup on her, like all of a sudden her best friend is a makeup effect artist. Like, what she had on her face would require some knowledge in that department. So her friend knows how to do all that stuff. Why wasn't that set up? It's just silly. Like, she's got all this makeup on her face, and then the other guy just runs out of the closet with a hatchet. Like, they stopped having sex to do this stupid prank while there is a potentially dangerous murderer on the loose, and they know that. Another thing that's silly is that this woman takes a shower with the curtain wide open so we can see her tits. Nobody takes showers with the curtain open. Nobody. And then they're playing tennis. Again, murderer on the loose. We saw him around here. He's potentially dangerous. Who knows what he'll do? But let's play tennis, shall we? And then they hit a ball outside of the court. She goes to fetch it, and then he just randomly lays down on his back on the tennis court. And I love how they try to set this up as a scare, like, oh my gosh, is it Terry walking up on him? Is he going to get killed by Terry right now? It's like, right before the reveal of, oh no, it's his girlfriend who just came back, you can clearly see his girlfriend re-entering the tennis court right before they cut to that. If you watch it again, like, she's coming back in that, far away shot of the whole court. You see her enter the tennis court, and then it cuts to him, and then the music starts playing. It's like, oh my gosh, could it be Terry? It's like, no, we know it's the girlfriend walking up because we just saw her in the other shot. It was a poor, lame attempt at setting up a scare, which I don't mind because it's all cheesy, it's all fun, but it just made me laugh. It's like, really? Was that supposed to be scary? Like, this movie is not good at pulling scares and trying to be scary. There's no tension here. And then, hard cut, they're having sex on a diving board, and this is a public pool. This is an apartment complex, right? It's a whole neighborhood. Everybody can walk in there at any moment and see them having sex on the diving board, butt-ass naked. And then the killer walks in, Todd, Terry, I keep mixing their names up. Terry comes in, slits his throat, and then kills the other beautiful girl off camera. Lame kills. That should have been much better. So then we get the scene where he pusses out with the guy. He's about to shoot his brother, you think, but then he just throws the gun down, runs away. So that to me should have shown right there. That should have shown the girlfriend Karen, like, I guess it could have been him who killed so and so in the open. Like, he's not even willing to shoot his brother right now. So clearly he's not the killer. It's my boyfriend. And then Artie gets forked right in the throat, like the big old forks that you use on like a grill. And you can see an extra in the background, like hanging out all the way in the back. You can see them, like they peep their head behind a tree and then they hide again. Like, I see it every time I watch the movie. It's like, that's not supposed to be there. Like, watch it again, you'll see. So that made me laugh. But yeah, he gets the thing in the throat, and then once again he's like, that's not cranberry sauce. And then bumps into his girlfriend Karen. He's got blood all over him, holding a bloody machete, and all she's worried about is like, oh my gosh, what's with the machetes? Like, and he's like, oh yeah, my brother's just killing people. And she's like, oh okay, like, I still think it's your brother. I don't think it's you, even though you got blood all over you. Like, she's not questioning the fact that he's got blood all over his shirt. And then Terry's shirt, his bloody shirt from earlier, is in the trash can. Way to go, Terry! You're really cleaning up your tracks. It's like the mom finds that shirt in the trash can, and she knows that is Terry's shirt, and she saw him wearing it earlier, but she's still convinced that it is Todd who's the killer, despite the fact that she just found that shirt, and despite the fact that the doctor is saying, like, no, it is Todd or Terry. It's Terry that's the killer. So the mom is just in denial the whole time, all the way till the end. So then we get this final chase, and it's really not that climactic. It's kind of lame, but it's fine. Like, she gets the baby. I like that. She tries to rescue the baby, so she's not selfish like that bitch mom. She takes the baby, and it just kind of stops crying in convenient moments when she's hiding in the bathroom, like Halloween 6. The baby just shuts up in the bathroom, and I like that the killer decides to take a bathroom break in the middle of this chase. And when he finds the dead bodies, he's just like chuckling, like, oh, you too, like just talking to the dead people. He's playing around. He's so psychotic, and I just love it. And she's like hiding in plain sight. She's hiding in plain sight behind the dresser, not even ducking that low. Like, she's horrible. And then she's in the public pool area, doesn't lock the door to the public pool area, and she's just sitting right next to the pool holding the baby. And then when the killer walks in, she's like, oh God, like, you found me. How did you find me in the middle of this pool area? Like, how? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So not only was the fake gun a bad prop, but the machete itself was a bad prop, because when he goes to use it on her in the bathroom and he misses and he hits like the bathroom stall, you can see the top of the machete break off and like fly up in the frame. It's pretty funny. And then, speaking of funny, you get these funny bad wigs like, why didn't they just hire twins? So then the mom walks in. She sees Terry at the other end of the pool. Todd is in the pool getting dragged out of it by Karen. Karen is yelling, I got you, Todd. I'm getting you out of the pool, Todd. The mom is right there. She hears this, but I guess in her mind, she's not listening to shit, obviously, because she shoots Terry 5 times, like 4 times, then he falls in the pool, and she shoots him 1 time for good luck. And then she's like hugging Todd, and she's like, oh, I love you so much. We're never going to be separated again. Like, all this dialogue implies that she thinks that that's Todd, that she's saving. Like, we're not going to be separated ever again. Like, I'm so sorry about everything that happened. Like, and the way it's written, too, it seems like they're a couple. Like, the dialogue would suggest that they're banging each other. Like, the dialogue would be more fitting if they were, like, a couple, not mother and son. Like, weird dialogue here. But also, it's sounding like she thinks that's Todd, not Terry. And then by the end of it, she's like, oh, I love you so much, Terry. And then Todd's like, what? No, I'm Todd. And she's like, what? I thought I killed Todd. And then she's just so upset, and she blows her own brains out. It's like, how did you get that mixed up? She clearly yelled Todd, that she was getting Todd out of the pool, and now you're saying all this shit about we're never going to be separated again, I'm sorry for what happened, that you got locked away, blah, blah. How did you mix that up? It makes no sense, but I love it anyways, because it's a dark ending. She blows her own brains out because she killed the one son that she loved. Like, she's sitting there saying, like, I only love, she's basically saying she only loved the one kid. The other kid, deplorable, evil bastard. And she still, even in the end, thinks that Todd is the psycho one. and she's so upset that she killed the good one in her mind that she blows her own brains out. So yeah, it's very dark, but silly at the same time. It's bad writing. It makes no sense. I just don't understand how she got confused. I don't understand how she's using 6 bullets in clearly a 4-shooter. And I don't understand how there's sirens in the background. Who called the cops? Nobody in this whole movie ever called the police. This Karen called the cops and I missed it. Like, she grabbed the phone at one point, but she only hit like one button for the operator, and she never got through. So nobody called the cops, but yet sirens are playing. Like, oh, now the cops arrive. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, that's such a cliche. Cops arrive at the end. It's like, quit doing it. Just quit. But yeah, that's the end of the movie. She blows her brains out. She's an idiot. The Hockey Mask Award for Best Character in this movie for me was Terry, the psychotic twin who does all the killings. He has the best lines. That's not cranberry sauce. The Hanky Award for Worst Character in this movie is that single mom, the gold digger, the one who left her newborn baby behind. And the hottest chick in this movie for me was Andrea, I think is her name, the one on the diving board having sex later on, the one in the shower who doesn't know how to shut a shower curtain. That's my type of lady. And the Clap Award for Best Scene in this movie for me was the opening scene, because I just love that it was a kid killing people in a brutal fashion. And the Funny Bone Award for Funniest Moment, the one that cracked me up, is when the little girl said, "You're gonna hurt my kitty." Cracked me up. And the Mr. Hat Award for Best Kill will go to Brad, the manager, who got his hand chopped off, and then later on it is revealed that he got a splitting headache and his head is split wide open. And the Mr. Twig Award for Lamest Kill goes to the hottest chick, Andrea, who gets killed off camera. She gets her cheek slit open for a split second, and then we just see her dead body later on in the sauna. And those are my thoughts on the classic Blood Rage. Put all your thoughts of it in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button. I really appreciate it. And become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.